I think the big...
All right, guys. Boogie gets a block here, but the kid recovers and scores. Should Boogie have gone for the chase down block?
Hey, man, he's just being real. You know, one effort defense this season. He's not going for two.
Man.
Follow your shot, kids. Follow your shot.
I mean, that's a low blow that time.
I know McMenamin's not following the shot because it's going in every time.
That's right. Hold your follow through.
McMenamin's getting lots of shots up. Well, welcome to the Jump. I'm Eno Hassan. I'm still here for Rachel Nichols, who I promise one day she'll be back. I promise. I'm joined by Tom Havisham and Dave McMenamin. What's up, guys?
Yo! Hey.
All right, let's dig right into it. ESPN.com summer forecast for the 2017-18 MVP was published today, and the results are interesting to say the least. This is voted on by various basketball experts around the company, including some actual regular season MVP voters. Voters have spoken, and KD is the leader in the clubhouse for next season's MVP, finishing ahead of LeBron James. Dave, would you agree that KD is the MVP favorite heading into next season?
Yeah, he's the best player on the best team in basketball. He's coming off a championship, so he has that kind of under his belt now. He knows his team. He knows the system that they run. He's healthy. He's in his athletic prime. He is the guy. He should be lined up for a second MVP of his career.
Yeah, I think he's probably the favorite, but I also wonder, like, what did Russell Westbrook winning the MVP last year due to the voting mentality? The guy wasn't the best player on the best team, and he certainly wasn't from a 50-win team. So I wonder if the mentality for voters is moving towards more of the story and the novelty aspect rather than just best player on the best team. Because I think actually Kawhi Leonard going into next season might be the novelty story for MVP, because Russell Westbrook, we know what he's got in the triple-doubles. We saw Kevin Durant win an MVP already. Steph's already got an MVP. LeBron's already got an MVP. But that guy Kawhi Leonard, I think he might be right there with KD going.
See, this is my thing when it comes to KD. I don't think the voters are ever going to vote for a Warrior as long as those guys play together, KD and Steph Curry. I think because they're always going to say, oh, but you had help. Right?
Right.
And the MVP, when we talk about that narrative, it's always about he did it by himself, right? LeBron did it by himself, even though he has good teammates. And Russell Westbrook last year, he did it by himself. James Harden, another front runner, he did it by himself. Durant and Curry are always going to cannibalize each other, I think, when it comes to that. And so, for me, it really comes down to LeBron James, who we all expect to be on a mission.
If Kyrie's traded, absolutely, even more so.
Right.
The thing about LeBron though is, like, is he going to be in cruise control during the regular season?
He wasn't last year. I mean, he took games off,
right,
and he didn't play his best defense during the regular season, but the numbers were there.
Right.
Statistically,
he's the best statistics of his career.
Career high in assists, career high in rebounds.
And it's going to be a bad Eastern Conference, so he's going to pile up a lot of wins if he wants it. I just don't know if he wants it enough, because I think all he cares about is getting the title at this point.
But if he doesn't think he can get the title,
that's a good point.
The fifth MVP would be a nice little cherry.
So we alluded to a little bit, another surprise was that the reigning MVP, Russell Westbrook, did not place in the top 5. He's finished 6th. So, Tom, I know you didn't vote for him last season.
Yeah, I didn't.
Do you think his chances of repeating this year are better?
I don't think he should be 6th here. I think he should be much higher, ahead of Giannis. Yes, because why do we think that he's not going to get triple-doubles next year? Last year, before Kevin Durant left, he averaged 10 assists per game.
Right.
You know, I don't think that's going away, and the only difference is, like, Paul George is coming to the team. I don't think it's going to stop him from getting triple-doubles. So this idea that Russell Westbrook isn't even in the top 5 after being the winner last year, I find that very hard to believe.
But if we're talking about the story is the thing, if the team improves in Oklahoma City next year, Russell won't get credit for it. Paul George will get credit for it. So that kind of cancels that out. And also, he already hit that statistical mark of a triple-double. If he does it again, is that so impressive? I
know, but it just speaks to, I mean, what are we voting for? Because, like, we reward a team, historically we rewarded players for playing on good teams.
Right.
The best teams always had the MVPs.
Right.
And yet when Russell Westbrook gets better players and they presumably win more games, that hurts his MVP case.
Because I don't think he can put up, like Dave said, he's not going to be able to put up the gaudy. I mean, they're still going to look good, but my point that was telling the producers earlier is if Russell Westbrook last year averaged 39-9, he's not the MVP. He's not the MVP. That's so ridiculous. That is the truth of it. So we can say, oh, he's great and he played hard every year. That's all cool. And he could have even broken the triple-double record that he did with 41 in a season. But if he averages 39-9, he's not the MVP.
To me, it's an admission that last year Russell Westbrook winning the MVP was more about the novelty in the story than it was this guy is the best player in the NBA.
Right. And to your point about Giannis, to me, first of all, Giannis took a huge leap last year.
Yep.
And when you, again, we talk about the Eastern Conference, it's going to be so much weaker. Milwaukee becomes a top 3 team in the conference, wins 50-some-odd games, and he has another step forward. Doesn't have to be elite, but 28 points and all around and guarding all 5 positions. Maybe that's the cool story, right?
Yeah, but that's probably like the Isaiah Thomas story of last year. Sure. Because then you say, okay, he's doing well for the Celtics, but they're in the East. And ultimately, it will sway back to, I think, a Western Conference player or LeBron.
The other name that's interesting on that list is James Harden, not in the top 3. Do you think he's happy about that? He's given, basically in our eyes, he's essentially giving up the MVP award now that they had Chris Paul.
Cannibalization. Speaking of cannibalization, we mentioned a little bit earlier, before last season, Steph Curry was the back-to-back reigning MVP. Now he's finishing 7th in the forecast, just behind Russell Westbrook. Our friend Jay Adande thinks that Curry's window to win MVP might be closed. Adande wrote, quote, "When you factor in Curry's 6th-place finish in the 2016-17 MVP results, it's becoming clear that he's no longer considered one of the very best players in the league. Most valuable player is a narrative-driven award, and it's easier to remain the best player than it is to be the best story. There is no new territory for Curry to explore." This is the part where I vehemently disagree with Adande. Only in the sense that I don't think that he's no longer considered one of the best players. Much in the same way, the last couple of years, Dave, it's not like we don't consider LeBron James to be one of the best players. It's just
we've done that.
We've done that. That's what it is.
Well, one of the things that's interesting to me is he almost averaged a triple-double in the finals last year.
Yes, he did.
So the idea, like he was the leading rebounder for the team. He had, I think, for the whole series, he had more rebounds than Tristan Thompson, maybe. This is new territory. Like, if he's able to add this another element to his game, I feel like that is the uncharted territory that Jay Adande says, you know, I don't think he can get there. But if he adds the triple-doubles and becoming more of a complete rebounder and assist guy, that's a different story.
But Golden State, to their credit for what they do as an organization, they don't chase statistical achievements.
Right.
So I don't see him, say he was close to averaging a triple-double or something like that. I don't think they're going to sublimate other guys' games to try to help pursue that. I could see him being finals MVP, though. I think it's kind of baffling to think this team's won 2 championships, been to 3 finals, and it's Andre Iguodala and Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant, one of the best players of all time, but the fact that Steph hasn't won one, like you could get a Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas situation where he adds a finals MVP.
The only way that I see Steph Curry win the MVP next year is if Kevin Durant gets hurt, because last year when he got hurt, they went on a 13-game win streak.
Right.
And it was with Steph Curry taking the...
That's the only way. The only way is if it reverses back to a situation like, okay, that's the best player on the best team. But as long as, again, Curry and Durant playing at the same time, neither of them are going to win because people always go, yeah, but you got
that guy.
You got him on your side. Well, another day, another story about LeBron James 3. Good Lord. After tweeting about wanting to run some pickup, Jamal Crawford invited him to the crossover in Seattle. LeBron responded, quote, "May have to make a day trip up there when I'm back home in L.A., bro." Dave, what do you make of LeBron calling L.A., quote, home
_ home.
Yes, coming back home.
My man Marcellus Wiley said yesterday, talking about the Waves tweet that LeBron put out, he's using elastic language. So he has the feasibility to say that, oh, I own a domicile in L.A., in Brentwood, so that's a home of mine. It's not, quote, unquote, home, Skylar Gray, I'm coming home, Akron, Ohio, all of the fuzzy, warm feelings that evokes. At the same time, LeBron knows what he's doing. He knows everybody in the league is watching his every breath, his every tweet, his every move. And I think he enjoys being in the spotlight. He's at a point right now, he's comfortable being uncomfortable. And he's making everyone around him uncomfortable in the Cavs organization, for one. Perhaps this is some sort of subliminal message of, hey, guess what? 2018's coming. July 1st is coming. Reminder, if you're going to trade Kyrie, let's get it done. Let's get good players, because otherwise my mind's already thinking about L.A.
I feel weird being a puppet. Don't you feel weird being a puppet? Like I feel like he's the marionette. We're adult marionettes, and he's just like dangling us from above. And it's like,
was that an NSYNC move right there?
It was.
It was. Was that Bye Bye Bye?
I think so.
Yes. So the idea that we laugh about this, but it is really interesting because he is going to be a free agent next summer, and the whole back home thing, he's tweaking us, and we are responding. And I feel like we're part of the beast.
I feel sometimes I want to be the naive person and say, is there any chance he was just tweeting?
No,
is there any whole thing? No, I just really want, you know, when I get back to my home in L.A., I may have to make a day trip up to Seattle.
This is a guy in the finals this past year when he evoked the name Emmett Till and spoke about that horrific tragedy. He wore a T-shirt of himself at 14 years old on the T-shirt.
There's nothing by accident.
He puts everything together. He goes the extra mile.
This right here. Look at this tweet again. May have to make a day trip up there when I'm back home. You got to be kidding me. All right, we got to go to break. Coming up, we'll address the league memo about scheduling improvements. Is this finally the end of DNP rest? Stick around, more jump to come. You got a coffee in his hand right there, a little cappuccino. What's LeBron's beverage of choice?
Big Starbucks guy.
Refreshing.
This is cheating the fans.
Yes.
It's cheating the game.
We don't even have to try to fake it anymore. We should have a lounge chair over there for those guys.
Fans at home are disappointed. We as announcers, we're disappointed.
It was not acceptable for 70 years.
Something definitely got to be done.
Oh, the name of that clip was Outrage. LeBron sipping a hot beverage while resting versus the Clippers in March. And, well, Adam Silver has said, enough with resting stars. He's making these changes to the way we schedule the games this year, buddy. Here's some of the main changes.
What is that?
I don't know.
What is that?
I don't know. Eliminating stretches of 4 games in 5 days and 18 games in 30 days. So we got none of that anymore. Reduction of 5 games in 7 nights, down from 90 instances to just about 40 instances this year. That's about 1.3 per team, down from 3 per team last year. Reduction in the number of back-to-backs from about 14.9 per team, down from 16.3 per team. So, Tom, have we seen the end of DNP rest for stars at big national TV games?
Look, the NBA needs to pat themselves on the back, do a little of this, but let's be real here. There is still 14.9 back-to-backs in the schedule.
Complaining, Tom? What do you want?
This is a little bit of a change. Like, I applaud the NBA for getting rid of 4 and 5s because those are you talk to players, you talk to coaches, you talk to people who do the TV games. 4 games in 5 nights is crazy. So I'm glad they're doing that. The problem here is that there's still 82 games in the season, and if you have LeBron James, you want to make sure he's healthy for the postseason. I applaud the league for making these changes. It's well overdue. When you add a week of vacation in the middle of the season, they didn't add a week of to fill that in the beginning of the season. They finally do that. But I still look at this and I say they're going to rest guys still. They had over 175 DNP rests last season. This is not going to fix that, but it should, nip it a little bit.
LeBron James's plan last year with the Cavaliers, between him, his trainer, and the coaching staff, was once every 10 games or so we're going to rest you. That was because he was in year 14 and he's trying to get back to the NBA Finals for a 7th consecutive year. Guess what? That plan's still going to be in place next year. It's not like all of a sudden, if he's healthy and then he's played 15 straight games or something like that, and they were like looking at the upcoming schedule, and there is still one of those back-to-backs coming up, or there is still one of those 4 and 5 night scenarios coming up, that they're going to all of a sudden just force him to play. So there's still going to be instances of it. The league has addressed it. I think teams understand that it was a bad look for the league last year, but it's not eliminated by any means.
It's not going to be eliminated. It'll be improved. But the thing that I always point to is you just got to be smart with scheduling the national TV games, right? So 29 of the Cavs' national TV games last year, 14 of them were on back-to-backs.
Yeah, that's too much.
When there was 5 ABC games for the Golden State Warriors, the marquee team in the league, 4 out of those 5 ABC games were on back-to-backs. And so they just have to schedule this a little bit smarter so they're not coming off an 8-game road trip, and on the 8th game they're playing on national
The
TV.
first Cavs-Warriors game last year was the Cavs finishing a 7-game road trip. Like, they were not interested in that point, and they considered resting their stars for that game.
And the Players Union were involved in this discussion and scheduling this time, which is a new thing. And I think they are being smarter about this. But at the end of the day, 82 games in 177 days, like no matter how you slice it, you're going to have a lot of back-to-backs, and it's going to be tough to schedule those marquee games.
Tom, you are pretty much the foremost authority on this, on rest, and you are one of the strongest voices about shortening the schedule. I don't think that's going to happen, as Brian Windhurst tells us all the time. But how do these new rules impact player safety?
Well, Adam Silver has admitted that there is a link between fatigue and injury. And he did point out in the finals last year that, hey, we had these 2 teams, the Golden State Warriors and the Cavaliers, resting guys during the regular season, and look at their rosters.
Paid off.
They're all healthy.
You know, the funny thing is, you said Adam Silver admits that there's a link between fatigue and injury. And I'm like, wow, isn't our sport so much better than the other one over there?
Oh.
There's a link between the sport and brain damage.
Right. They actually look at the science and they see that there's a correlation between fatigue and being run down and having to play, back-to-backs and injuries. So this doesn't mean that like there are going to be no injuries next year because they've reduced back-to-backs. What this does mean is that there is a league-wide appreciation for the health factor because, as Adam Silver has noted, you would rather see LeBron James for 75 games than have him miss you know, 2 months because he turned his ankle.
Look at this graphic, guys. This is I truly didn't know this until right now when we came on the show. The last time a first-team All-NBA player played 82 games was in 2010-11. The last time the scoring champ played all 82 games was 2009-10. The last time the MVP played all 82 games was Kobe Bryant's sole MVP season.
There's been a shift in player thinking, though. They don't value 82 out of 82 like it once was.
Right.
Like Chris Paul told Michael Wilbon a couple years ago, 8-9 years in the league, and he finally won 82 for 82, and he was wearing it like a badge of honor. That doesn't exist anymore because, and I think rightfully so, it's not because they're not as tough as the players were in the past. I think they understand that playing any playoff game is going to have more impact on how people perceive you forevermore than playing any regular season game.
This is the problem with rings. The rings talk is like, if you put so much value in winning championships, then the regular season gets devalued and watered down. So Chris Paul doesn't want to play. I shouldn't say want to play. Of course he does want to play, but it's not a badge of honor. And this, too, is they're looking at this as longevity. If I can trade 1 or 2 games here where I'm run down and I'm at risk for injury, but I can add maybe 30% more years to my career, that's a trade they're going to make.
It's a crazy thing when you think about guys like LeBron in the 14th year of his career. Think about what Patrick Ewing looked like in the 14th year of his career, going into the 98-99 season. He was an old man, right? Akeem Olajuwon was an old man. And, you know, Michael Jordan, obviously he had some time off, but that was pretty much the end of his career. It's his second retirement, so it's something of the tough.
Isaiah Thomas, Pistons Isaiah Thomas, he had most games played through 10 years in the league in NBA history, and he was out of the league by 32.
LeBron James has never missed a playoff game. Why? He manages his body in the regular season.
Exactly. Speaking of playoffs and someone who's never been there, let's talk about a player who could be, emphasis on the word could be ready to make the max. But if Andrew Wiggins is going to command a max deal, Minnesota owner Glenn Taylor is letting everyone know he's got some work to do, saying, quote, I'm already extending to him that I'm willing to meet the max. But there are some things that I need out of him, Padre. And that is the commitment to be a better player than you are today. Dave, does Wiggins need to commit to the Timberwolves?
This is the strangest negotiation tactic. We're in a league where guys have the red carpet rolled out to them when teams are recruiting them to sign a max extension. They put together sizzle reels of how they're going to affect the franchise and perhaps off-court endeavors that they can make money off of. Instead, you have Glenn Taylor basically challenging Wiggins to be like, are you in or not? And maybe he's doing this because he wants to find out whether he should, you know, not sign this extension and open up his eyes and ears to the Kyrie Irving trade.
Let me ask you this, Amin. I can give you $150 million right now, but you have to tell me that you're committed to being a better broadcaster and a better analyst.
I'm there. You can count on me, Tom.
Done. 150. Here you go.
You got a pen right there.
Like, this is such reverse thinking. Like I need to hear it from you, Amin, that you're committed to being a better player.
I think I can do that.
And isn't that why you have
Look
Tom?
him deep in his eyes.
Yeah. Isn't this why you have Tom Thibodeau on your staff to negotiate to like get the most out of your players? This is just backwards to me. It's backwards.
This is, you wonder why. You wonder why they haven't been in the playoffs for so long. All right, we got to take another break for commercials, but when we come back, yes, it's the many teams of Michael Beasley train set to make a stop in New York City. Hello, Knicks. We'll discuss it. Welcome to New York City. Welcome to New York City. Our Wednesday night baseball matchup features the AL East leading Red Sox on a season-high 7-game win streak, taking on the Rays in Tampa. And then right after the game, it's the Two John edition, Two Johns of Sports Center at night. That's Booty Gross and Anderson, in case you were wondering which Johns I was talking about.
It's a make or miss league.
Make or miss?
It's a make or miss league.
Make or miss.
It's a make or miss. It's a make or miss league.
Make vision. John Wall showing some pretty no-look passes in the gym. Tom, are you impressed by Wall's practice routine?
August in the NBA, baby. I am so impressed. I love it.
This is insane.
It's like the old Tiger Woods golf commercial.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, this is truly insane, though. The amount, because they're not just getting to those guys. They're getting in the pocket, shooting pocket, a perfect pass. Yeah. I'm impressed. I'm impressed, John Wall. You got me. All right, Miss Reality. Darrell Arthur said on Tuesday the Nuggets will be a contender for sure. Quote, right up there with Golden State. Dave, is Darrell Arthur being too confident here?
The only thing this quote is right up there is with Derrick Rose's super team quote. It's right up there with that for being completely delusional.
I just wanted to hit him with the why you always lying, though. Like, Jeez. All right, Nate, Trickeration. Take a look at this TikTok sent to me by my guy, former NBA player Alex Scales. Tom, how many takes do you think this took?
One, the dance, as always with Alex Scales, is as impressive as the shot. Does he do a dance after this?
No, he just kind of points. But every Tuesday, this guy comes out with one, and most of them are 2 to 3 takes at most. He's the most incredible trick shot person I've ever seen in my life. All right, and this just in at the buzzer. The Knicks signed Michael Beasley to a 1-year deal. Tom, is Beasley a good fit for the Knicks?
I mean, we're talking about the Knicks team, right? Like, I mean, I don't know what he's fitting into exactly, but Michael Beasley's been efficient. He's been a good, productive scorer off the bench. Last year in Milwaukee, he shot 53% from the floor and 40% from 3.
Career high.
This is a nice spark plug for the Knicks at a great price.
How about Rose and Beasley went 1-2 in the draft
Oh,
all those years ago? They're both on minimum contracts this year.
Wow.
Life comes at you fast.
Super fast. That's hyper speed. I forgot to ask you guys earlier. I'm going to bring it back. Wiggins, max guy or not?
No.
If there's a team willing to pay him.
No.
That's the way
I'm
the
just saying,
league works.
I get
Right.
that.
Would you pay him?
Would you pay him max?
If I had other options, no.
Okay, because if I was going to expect him to get better defensively, like that was the big thing. Like Thibodeau's in town, he's going to get better. He's one of the worst defenders in the NBA. Still, with Thibodeau.
And that's staggering, man.
But I do like him if the guys can trade Kyrie for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're going to get Kyrie for him, that's good. And if you're the captain, you can get that for Kyrie.
Right.
That's something to look good at.
Sign the check, Wiggins. Sign the check.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Dave, for joining me. Jump is off tomorrow, but we'll be back on Friday. These guys will. I won't. Tune in. Sports Nation is next. I'm sure they'll have hijinks going on over there. Maybe I'll go join them. Why not?